Imagine waking up at night and walking into a bathroom where everything is already solved. Light, privacy, water, paper, soap, and a locked door. Now remove the toilet. Remove the paper, remove the sink, remove the soap, remove the lock, and remove the idea that privacy is guaranteed. Instead, you are near a prehistoric camp with one small fire, sleeping hides, dark trees, cold ground, and no room built for this moment. People sleep close together because warmth is survival. Children curl near adults, tools rest by the fire, and every private problem becomes a group problem. So the question begins as comedy, but it quickly turns serious. Where do you go when the entire world is your bathroom? Go too close to the stream, and the water your group drinks may become dangerous. Go too far away, and you are alone outside the firelight. The forest does not care that this is embarrassing. At night, the edge of camp is also the edge of safety, smell, and fear. This is why bathroom behavior was never only about wiping. It was about distance from food, distance from water, and distance from sleeping children. A modern toilet makes waste vanish. Ancient humans could not make it vanish, so they had to place it where it caused the least harm. Maybe no one had a written rule, but a glance from an elder, a remembered smell, or a sick child could teach the whole group. Today, paper feels like the main invention. But the bigger invention is separation. Waste from hands, hands from food, waste from water. Without soap or germ theory, ancient humans still had senses. Bad smells, dirty water, insects, and sickness could become warnings remembered around camp. A cleaner camp was not about being fancy. It meant fewer bad smells near sleep, fewer scraps near children, and fewer reasons for animals to come close. So before we ask what they wiped with, we have to ask a stranger question. How did they build an invisible bathroom without walls? The answer begins with location. In a world without plumbing, the first bathroom technology was not paper. It was choosing where not to go. In a modern bathroom, location is decided for you. In a prehistoric camp, the wrong location could threaten water, food, sleep, and safety. Too close to the fire, and everyone smells it. Too close to sleeping hides, and the place that protects the group becomes unpleasant. Too close to water, and the danger becomes quieter. Nothing looks dramatic, but the group may drink from that same stream later. Too far from camp, and another danger appears. You are alone, away from the fire, where sounds become harder to understand. So every camp needed invisible zones, where people slept, where food stayed, where children played, where water came from, and where waste should not be. These zones did not need signs. A remembered path, a pointed hand, or a disgusted face could teach the same lesson. A child did not need a lecture about sanitation. They could learn by watching adults avoid one area and choose another. Water made everything tempting. It could clean hands, rinse skin, and cool the body, but it also had to remain drinkable. If people noticed sickness after using a foul place, the lesson could travel through the group without anyone knowing the invisible cause. Privacy was another problem. Bushes could hide a person from the group, but bushes could also hide what else was nearby. This is why the safest place was never simply far away. It was far enough for hygiene, but close enough for human protection. That balance may sound small, but it reveals something huge. Prehistoric life was full of tiny decisions that protected the whole group. The group did not need to call it sanitation. They only needed to know that some places made camp safer and others made it worse. So the first answer is not a leaf, a stone, or a handful of grass. The first answer is distance, carefully chosen. But once the place was chosen, the next question became unavoidable. Without toilet paper, what could the landscape actually offer? Now we finally reach the object question. If there was no toilet paper, ancient humans had to ask the landscape what it could provide. Water may have been the simplest answer when it was close, clean enough, and not needed immediately for drinking by the whole group. In a forest, soft leaves, grass, moss, or bark fibers might work, but only if they were safe, available, and not irritating. Near rivers, smooth stones or shells could offer another option. Not comfortable by modern standards, but prehistoric solutions were about function first. In cold places, snow might become the answer. It sounds harsh, but in winter, nature sometimes offered the cleanest material nearby. But this was never one universal answer. A desert, a forest, a coast, and an ice age steppe offered completely different tools. A young person probably learned by watching older people choose materials carefully, rejecting sharp leaves, dirty objects, or anything that caused pain. That means prehistoric hygiene was partly botanical knowledge. Which plant is soft? Which one scratches? Which one makes skin burn? It was also knowledge of water. A clear stream might help, while stagnant mud, foul pools, or animal-heavy edges could create new risks. Modern toilet paper feels like one object, but behind that object are trees, factories, plumbing, stores, packaging, transport, and a private room. Ancient humans had none of that system. They had hands, eyes, memory, and whatever the ground offered within a safe distance. And because everyone depended on the same camp, a bad choice was not only personal, it could become everyone else's problem by morning. So the real prehistoric replacement for toilet paper was not one material. It was improvisation, guided by comfort, safety, memory, and place. That sounds simple until hands enter the story. Because hands touch materials, hands touch water, and later, those same hands touch food. And once hands touch food, the bathroom question changes again. Now it is no longer about comfort. It is about invisible danger. Ancient humans did not know germ theory, but the invisible danger was still there, moving between waste, water, hands, food, and mouths. No one needed a microscope to notice that foul smells, rotten scraps, dirty puddles, and sickness often seemed to belong to the same world. Disgust may have helped. That deep feeling of stay away could protect people before they understood the tiny things causing harm. But disgust was imperfect. Clear water could still be unsafe, and a clean-looking hand could still carry danger back toward dinner. Around the fire, hands did everything. They held food, touched children, shaped tools, carried water, cleaned skin, and passed objects from person to person. That made hand cleaning important, even without modern soap. Water, rubbing, ash, sand, or simple wiping could reduce visible dirt and smell. If someone became sick after drinking from one place, the group might not know why, but they could remember where not to return. If insects gathered around scraps or waste, people could notice the swarm first, then learn to move the source farther from camp. This is how a habit can form before an explanation. First comes discomfort, then memory, then imitation, then a rule nobody writes down. The modern bathroom does this with engineering. It separates waste from rooms, hands from germs, water from sewage, and shame from public life. A prehistoric camp did it with space. The fire was one center, water another, food another, and waste belonged outside the circle. Mobility could also help. If a camp became foul, crowded, or insect-heavy, a moving group was not forced to stay forever. But movement was not magic. Bad water, contaminated hands, parasites, and unlucky choices could still turn a normal day into a dangerous one. So the invisible danger shaped visible behavior. Where people walked, what they avoided, how they washed, and what children were taught. Yet there was one danger even modern plumbing cannot erase completely. The feeling of being watched when the body needs privacy. Today, privacy feels automatic. You close a door, turn a lock, and expect the world to politely disappear for a few minutes. But that private feeling is not only emotional. It is built from walls, doors, locks, pipes, lights, habits, and social rules. In a prehistoric camp, there were no bathroom walls. People ate, slept, repaired tools, watched children, and warmed themselves in shared space. If someone wanted privacy, they had to create it with distance, timing, bushes, rocks, darkness, or the simple courtesy of looking away. That means shame may not be a modern invention. The exact rules are hard to prove, but social discomfort likely had ancient roots. But prehistoric privacy had a problem modern privacy rarely has. The farther you moved from other people, the farther you moved from protection. So the ideal place was a compromise. Hidden enough from eyes, distant enough from camp, but not so distant that help disappeared. A group could manage this without words. One person steps away, others do not stare, and someone still notices if danger appears. Modern bathrooms turn this social agreement into architecture. The door says what the group once had to communicate through behavior. This is why bathroom behavior may have shaped boundaries, where camp ends, where private space begins, and which places children should avoid. Embarrassment, then, was not useless. It could push people to seek distance, protect others from smell, and respect invisible camp rules. In a small group, the body was personal, but its consequences were communal. One careless choice could affect sleepers, children, food, and water. That is the strange, ancient root of modern bathroom manners. Cleanliness, shame, safety, and respect all meet in one ordinary act. But even if the group respected privacy, the landscape did not. Smell could travel past bushes, past shame, and into the dark. And that brings us to the next problem. In prehistory, a dirty camp did not just smell bad, it could advertise itself. Smell mattered in prehistory. It moved through darkness, carried information, warned the group, and sometimes made a camp easier for animals to notice. A prehistoric camp was full of smells: smoke, sweat, wet hides, cooked meat, mud, plants, tools, bodies, scraps, and the ground itself. Some smells were useful. Smoke marked the camp. Rot warned people away, and familiar body smells may have helped recognition up close. But other smells created problems. Food scraps, waste, damp hides, and foul spots could pull insects, scavengers, or sickness closer to daily life. This is why cleaning a camp was not about being fancy. It was about reducing signals that said, something edible happened here. At night, the group could not control the wind. A smell near the camp might drift beyond firelight before anyone noticed. That does not mean one bad smell magically summoned a predator. But patterns mattered, and prehistoric humans survived by taking patterns seriously. If scraps brought insects, move the scraps. If a foul place made people sick, avoid it. If tracks appeared, remember them. The campfire helped define the human circle. Inside it were warmth, faces, food, stories, children, tools, and shared attention. Outside that circle belonged the messier things: scraps, waste, suspicious smells, damp materials, and places the group did not want children exploring. Smoke may have helped with some insects, dried materials, and marked the center of camp, though it also brought its own health costs. So the group kept sorting the world. Clean enough, too foul; close enough, too close; safe enough, and not safe tonight. This is where bathroom behavior meets predator safety. Not because waste was dramatic, but because smell and placement shaped the camp's edge. The boundary between fire and darkness was also the boundary between human order and everything the landscape might send back toward them. And if one camp collected too much smell, waste, insects, or memory of sickness, humans had one powerful option left: move. Movement was one of the oldest sanitation tools. If a camp became too foul, crowded, or insect-heavy, the group could leave it behind. A place that felt safe on the first night could feel different days later, after scraps, ash, waste, damp hides, and smells collected. Unlike later villages, many hunter-gatherer camps were temporary. That did not make life easy, but it reduced some problems that build in one place. Moving meant work. People had to carry children, tools, hides, food, memories of water, and the knowledge of where danger waited. A new camp needed water, but not just any water. It needed a source close enough to use, yet protected from daily mess. They also needed ground that drained, space for sleeping, a fire center, and enough distance from places that already smelled wrong. This was not random wandering. A good campsite was chosen with memory. What happened last season, where insects gathered, where animals passed. An older person might remember a foul stream. A hunter might remember scavenger tracks. A caregiver might remember where children got sick. That is the hidden intelligence behind movement. The group was not only chasing food, it was managing risk across the landscape. A settled village must solve waste with stronger systems. A moving camp could solve some of it by refusing to stay too long. Still, movement did not erase the bathroom problem. Wherever humans went, oddies followed, and every new camp needed new boundaries. Again and again, the same questions returned. Where is food? Where is water? Where do children sleep? Where should waste never be? This is why hygiene is older than bathrooms. It begins whenever humans separate clean from dirty, safe from unsafe, inside from outside. The group carried more than tools across the land. They carried habits, warnings, disgust, courtesy, and memory of what once made someone sick. And now, the modern bathroom looks different. It is not just convenience. It is a fixed camp boundary built from porcelain, pipes, and privacy. Return to the modern bathroom now. The light, the lock, the sink, the paper, and the flush suddenly look like ancient problems solved. A toilet is not just a seat. It is a machine that moves danger away from the body, the home, and the water. Toilet paper is not just softness. It is a disposable plant fiber product backed by industry, transport, packaging, and private space. For ancient humans, the same task depended on water, leaves, moss, stones, snow, grass, memory, and the careful reading of place. They did not have our bathroom, but they had group intelligence, warnings, habits, disgust, courtesy, and the ability to teach children boundaries. The answer, then, is not one funny object. It is a system of distance, material choice, water caution, and social memory. The modern bathroom hides the same old work. It separates clean from dirty, inside from outside, privacy from public life. That is why this tiny daily habit feels so normal. Civilization works best when its hardest survival problems become almost invisible. But ancient humans could see the problem. They smelled it, avoided it, carried lessons from it, and built camp life around it. They may not have known microbes, but they knew enough to treat water, smell, insects, sickness, and children as connected dangers. So the next time toilet paper feels ordinary, remember the ancient camp behind it. No walls, no pipes, no guaranteed privacy. Remember the nervous step away from firelight, the need for distance, and the quiet hope that nothing waited beyond the bushes. Remember the group sorting the world every morning? This place is safe, that place is foul, this path is for children. Civilization did not begin only with hunting, tools, or fire. It also began with knowing where not to leave things behind. Because long before bathrooms, humans were already trying to keep the living space safe, clean enough, and worthy of being called home.